Hello and welcome to the viewers of this video. This is the Orange Fan here, bringing you another entry for the episode Recap and Thoughts category. This video will be dedicated to the B segment of episode 48 of Codename Kids Next Door, Operation Closet. We begin this segment at the park where we see number one sitting on a bench reading some newspaper comics. Eventually, a woman arrives to meet with number one, but she seems to be in disguise because she comments about how she could get kicked out of the bridge club for being here, but number one simply inquires her about why she contacted the kids next door. The woman explains that this has to do with an incident on Saturday relating to her son Billy. At a later point in the segment, number one refers to the woman as Mrs. Hocslawger. The last name sounds like Hocslawger when I was rewatching the segment. I believe the H is silent, much like the word homage. But in any case, Mrs. Hocslawger explains to number one that the incident on Saturday was an argument between her and Billy about his closet. Billy has a habit of stuffing his clothes in his closet, and there are many clothes that Billy hasn't even worn that are in his closet. However, Billy and his mom's argument ended up causing an avalanche of clothes, and Billy ended up lost in his closet because of this avalanche. So Mrs. Hocslawger is hoping that the kids next door will be able to rescue her son. Number one grumbles about how they constantly warn parents that cleaning closets is dangerous business, or he says something along those lines at least. But he assures Mrs. Hocslawger that the kids next door will be able to rescue her son. The next scene takes us to the Hocslawger home, and we see many kids next door operatives have arrived, and they set up a perimeter around the house. The Sector V operatives enter the house, and they're wearing winter-styled outfits. The Sector V operatives enter Billy's room, and once again, number one reassures Mrs. Hocslawger that the kids next door will succeed in rescuing her son. So the Sector V operatives proceed to enter Billy's closet, and the inside of Billy's closet looks like a mountain and a tundra, except made out of clothes. There's even a sky in Billy's closet. Number four in particular comments about how impressed he is by how many clothes Billy was able to fit in his closet. But in any case, the Sector V operatives are determined to find Billy, even if the closet is very big. But suddenly, the Sector V operatives notice a boulder made out of clothes heading towards their direction. But number two is able to separate the clothes that form the boulder from each other using his latest invention. He calls it a super anti-static blaster. Number two figured that this particular device would come in handy. So after that's been taken care of, number five pulls out a 2x4 technology tracker which resembles a yo-yo, and she intends to track Billy's location with this tracker. After activating the tracker, number five tells her teammates that Billy is up somewhere in the higher up in the mountain part of this mountain tundra closet. So the Sector V operatives proceed to head to where the tracker is telling them Billy is located, and they're using the super anti-static blaster to get rid of any other boulders of clothing that come their way. Eventually, the Sector V operatives do find Billy, and he seems to be panicked, thinking that someone else is near him, but number one is able to calm Billy down and assure him that the kids next door have arrived to rescue him. Billy doesn't seem to be familiar with the kids next door organization. He doesn't seem to recognize the name, But then when he sees the clothes that the Sector V operatives are currently wearing, he comments about how cool looking their outfits are, and he grumbles about the dorky outfits that he got from his mom. Number one appreciates the comments, but he says something along the lines about how Billy shouldn't be focusing on jealousy over clothing right now. But Billy seems to go on a rant about how this has to do with the dorky outfits that he has, and suddenly someone ambushes the Sector V operatives and captures Billy and takes Billy higher up within the mountain of clothes. Number one recognizes the shadowy being as an abominable snowsuit, and the Sector V operatives resume their mission to try and rescue Billy. So the Sector V operatives travel through more parts of the tundra and mountain of clothes. There's points where a bridge of clothes breaks apart, and there's a blizzard of clothes that also cause things to become tricky. But eventually, the Sector V operatives are able to head higher up within the clothing mountain. And high up on the clothing mountain, in a cave, Billy is hanging upside down from the ceiling. Yes, his feet are attached to the ceiling, so Billy's hanging upside down, and the abominable snowsuit is trying to reach out to Billy. But Billy, rather harshly, wants the abominable snowsuit to stay away from him, commenting on how horrible looking he is, and Billy eventually says he hates the abominable snowsuit. The abominable snowsuit looks sad, but then that sadness quickly turns into anger. But before anything else can happen, the Sector V operatives do try to ambush the abominable snowsuit, but the abominable snowsuit is able to overpower the Sector V operatives, and after defeating all of them, the abominable snowsuit grabs all of these Sector V operatives and intends to toss them off the cliff of the highest point of the closed mountain. But yes, somehow Billy was able to break free, and he goes out to stop the abominable snowsuit. And he says that the abominable snowsuit will have things its way. Billy says that the abominable snowsuit wins because Billy agrees he will wear the abominable snowsuit. The Sector V operatives are baffled that this whole situation was over that. But the abominable snowsuit is happy to hear this. The abominable snowsuit rushes towards Billy, but ends up dropping the Sector V operatives anyway. So the Sector V operatives are rolling down the closed mountain. And eventually the abominable snowsuit reaches Billy after Billy encourages the abominable snowsuit to just hurry things up. So the abominable snowsuit is now Billy's size, and Billy is now wearing the abominable snowsuit. But now he seems to change his mind. He thinks that the abominable snowsuit isn't so bad after all. And with the Sector V operatives, they do end up back at the entrance of the closet. So they're back in Billy's room now. And yes, number one assures Mrs. Hocslawger that Billy will be out of the closet and back in his room. Or yes, Billy will be down from the mountain of clothing and back in his room in a little while. Or number one says something along those lines anyway. Later on, presumably a different day, number one and Mrs. Hocslawger are once again meeting at the park on the bench. And Mrs. Hocslawger repeats her thanks to number one about how the kids next door were able to rescue Billy. And number one comments that, number one says that the important thing is that Billy is safe now. And he hopes that Mrs. Hocslawger understands how problematic or how challenging cleaning closets can be. Mrs. Hocslawger says she does, and then she proceeds to head home. And she tells Billy that it's time to head home. Billy follows his mom back home, and we see he's still wearing the abominable snowsuit. Number one, though, just grumbles freak when he sees this. And then we see a montage of Billy and the abominable snowsuit having fun with each other. Like just playing around, having fun, or going to events or pulling pranks. They actually pulled the doorbell prank on Mr. Wink and Mr. Fib, or watching movies. The montage, however, ends with Billy opening up the washer or the dryer, and the abominable snowsuit has shrunken now, and Billy is upset that the abominable snowsuit has shrunken quite a bit. And that's how we end this segment. So this segment introduces us to a different family, the Hocslawger family, and I don't believe they appear again in later entries in the series, or if they do, they have at least cameos. This is their only major role. But what stood out about this segment to me was how a parent actually was aware of the Kids Next Door organization for what it really was. That's right. Yes, some earlier entries portrayed the Sector V operative parents as viewing the Kids Next Door organization as some sort of make-believe game. Or like Mr. Uno in particular. Yes, like the way Mr. Uno seems to talk about the Kids Next Door seems to give the impression that he thinks it's just a game of make-believe, for example. But here, Mrs. Hocslawger actually is aware of the Kids Next Door organization being much more advanced than any game of make-believe, and she actually hoped that they would help her to rescue her son, and they did accomplish that. So that was definitely interesting. It was we got to see an adult who wasn't an adult villain, or yes, we got to see a parent. Yes, I guess you could say an ordinary civilian adult. I think that might be the best way to describe it. But yes, we got to see a parent actually be aware of just how advanced the Kids Next Door organization was, and even enlisted the organization's help to help out one of her missing kids. Yes, so that really stood out to me because of how most adults, besides the villains and maybe the occasional allies, seem to be oblivious about the Kids Next Door organization. But yes, and you could say that this was pretty heartwarming, or yes, this kind of helps to highlight number one's characteristics. Like, number one does come off a bit standoffish. He did seem kind of standoffish towards Mrs. Hocslawger, but he was still willing to help her out with finding her missing son in his mountain and tundra of clothing. And he did say what was important was that Billy is safe now, even if he did call Billy a freak because of the abominable snowsuit at the end. But yeah, it does go to show. Number one can be standoffish, but he still genuinely cares about the goals of the Kids Next Door organization. And yes, otherwise, I guess the other big detail would be, I guess it's funny because this segment and its sibling segment features sentient clothing. Operation Not had featured sentient ties, while sentient, yes. Sentient ties were featured in Operation Not, while the abominable snowsuit was sapient in this segment. So yeah, it was pretty interesting how there was a theme between the two segments of this episode. Whether that was intentional or coincidence, I'm not sure. But yes, that's right, yes. This segment also is known for its, this segment is another good example of the show's tendency to take mundane situations into an over-the-top manner. In this case, cleaning the closet, which, became quite a challenge in the universe of Codename Kids Next Door, because yes, Billy's closet seemed like a pocket dimension, not just because the clothing were like mountains and a tundra, but there was even a sky in the closet. So yes, that's definitely Codename Kids Next Door for you, taking mundane situations into an over-the-top manner. Otherwise, I guess a neat little detail is a casting gag with the two members of the Hocslawger family. Billy and his mom are actually voiced by a real-life married couple. Tom Kenny voices Billy, while Jill Talley voices Billy's mom. So yes, they play a son and a mother in this segment, but in real life they're a married couple. So that was a pretty amusing casting gag if you wanted my 2 cents on the matter. So otherwise though, yeah, that might be about it for this particular segment. So once again, I thought that was pretty interesting that we got to see a parent of a kid be aware of just how advanced the Kids Next Door organization is and being willing to request help from the Kids Next Door organization. And the Kids Next Door organization did oblige. The Sector V operatives were the ones that actually went into Billy's closet, but other members of the organization were there to set up a perimeter too. And it does seem to establish what was said back in Operation Matador, how the Kids Next Door organization don't have anything against innocent adults. Their agenda is really against evil adults. So yes, it is good to see the Kids Next Door being willing to help out innocent adults, or I thought that was pretty heartwarming, even if number one was a bit standoffish about it. And like I said, yes, we had another example of over-the-top situations made from mundane, everyday situations. But otherwise, yes, I believe that's about it. So as of this video, we've now discussed the B segment of episode 48 of Codename Kids Next Door on this channel. Take care, and until next time.